Powerful words. Hey, patriots, friends, fellow people who love America, love this country. Thank you so much for joining us today. Robert Imbriali here. Lewis may or may not join us for the show today. He's in an area where the internet or the connection, the cellular connection's a little bit rough. He's going to try, but no guarantees, and he'll certainly be here tomorrow and give us a full update on everything that he saw at America Fest. And those were some clips from America Fest that I pulled, and I thought they were pertinent to our conversation, especially the last one, Eva, where she said basically we are paying for our own destruction. Pretty powerful. Pretty powerful words. Anyway, I'm glad to be here. Always love to spend time with you guys, and lots to talk about today. We can pat ourselves a little bit on the back today because we talked about what was going on in Eagle Pass, Texas. I started to see the post pop up Sunday night on that, and I said this is going to be big. I wasn't wrong. It's actually bigger than big, and we're starting to see today all the media is picking it up as sort of a top story. We're going to follow up on that. There's a little bit more to talk about there, what's been going on, and we've got some video clips to share. We've got a lot of digging there to do. And before we get into today's news, I'm a guy who asks a lot of questions. You probably recognize that every time Lewis is on here. I always ask him the questions, right? But I ask myself a lot of questions too, and I ask questions of everything that I see in the media, everything that I see popping up on my feeds. I'm always asking questions. And questions, sometimes they can't always be answered. So, but I know it is a very powerful tool to use in terms of, okay, how do we learn? Well, we learn by asking questions. That's how we retrieve information. You never ask the question, nobody's ever going to give you an answer, right? And sometimes there are no answers to the questions we ask, but it's still worthwhile asking the questions. I was a kid, drove my parents crazy asking a million questions. I kind of never lost the habit. I still ask a lot of questions to this day, and it really helps me. So the question that was on my mind this morning is, at what point does the switch get flipped from talking to taking action? Fair question, right? We know that there's a lot going on. We know our country is in a very challenging position right now, and there's a lot of talk. Certainly, our politicians, a lot of chatter, chat all day long. But what we're not seeing is action. We're seeing a little bit here. We're winning a battle here and a battle there, but I think we want to see a lot more action. Wouldn't you agree with that? I think it's time for there to be a lot more action being taken. So we've been going about things as a group. We've been going about things the legal way. We've been trying to follow the rules and do the things according to the way the Constitution's laid out, which is great. I think we need to continue doing that. I don't think we want to get away necessarily from that. We've been negotiating in good faith. We've been going to court. We've been taking people to court, and we're running into what? Lawfare. We're running into judges who don't follow the law, who don't obey the Constitution, who don't remember their oath, literally, and they're just going off and doing, whatever rulings they want. The Rudy Giuliani case comes to mind, at $148 million fine that he has to pay, which is crazy outrageous. I mean, so far out of band for anything that you could possibly imagine. It doesn't even fit. It's crazy. It's like coming out of a cartoon almost. It's so bad. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. He's fighting back on that one too. But we've been running into these challenges, right? So I'm looking at other countries. We're seeing some wins. Do we get to the point where we need to get to if we're just talking and we're just going about it without really taking any action? Right. And I think we're at the point, or maybe even beyond the point, maybe, of where more of us need to step up and take some action. I'm not pointing fingers here. I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of it. We're all guilty of it in some way, not taking enough action. And it's sort of interesting because if you look in Germany, and I'll share this quick video with you. This is Berlin, Germany today. What you'll see here is, what's he doing? What are the farmers doing? Oh, no. Yeah. So what they're trying to do here is they're trying to turn Berlin, Germany into San Francisco. I think they saw what was happening in San Francisco and they said, we like that. Let's make Berlin. No, what they're doing is they're protesting, right? The farmers are protesting. They're standing up and they're doing something. The Irish are pushing back massively on the migrants coming in taking over their country, literally. They're going around, and I don't think this is the greatest idea, but they don't really have much choice. They're burning down some of the centers where they're planning to put the migrants. Before the migrants get there, they burn the centers down. This has been happening over there. And they're pushing back. They're pushing back hard. So they're fighting back. They're taking a stand. The French have been protesting. We know we see more and more, and there's still the farmers protesting in France as well. And there's still protests going on. We don't hear about it as much in the mainstream media because, well, it's France, right? We don't really pay that much attention there. But there's action being taken, right? So here in the U.S., what are we seeing as far as protests go? Well, there's a protest today on Capitol Hill. You might be excited to hear that. What are they protesting? Anybody know? Yeah, you're right. They're pro-Palestinian protests. They're anti-Israel protests. They want the war to stop. But we're in the United States here. We are in the United States. And we have a few things we could be protesting. And that's probably not on the top of my list. And maybe not on the top of your list either. What about the horrid economy? I don't see anybody protesting that. I'll give you an example. My UPS guy came late last night. I was still here about 7 o'clock last night, and he came by, and we had one box for him to pick up. And I looked in his truck, and I asked him a question. I said, what's it been like this holiday rush season? He goes, I can't tell the difference between the holiday rush and July, middle of summer when they're really quiet. He says, it's been like nothing. And I looked in his truck, and I counted 10 boxes. This is the last stop in his days going back to the depot. I said, this is all you picked up all day, 10 boxes? He said, yeah, it's all I had. 10 boxes? I said, usually that truck is full. He says, yeah, normally this time of year, the truck would be full. And maybe you'd have to send out another truck to pick up the rest of it, the next day. There was so much. So where's our economy? Clearly in the toilet. Clearly in the toilet. How do I know? You saw the specials on Black Friday. Companies were doing anything they could to generate sales. They lowered their prices more than they would normally lower them. Good for the consumer, right? We get a lot of good deals. I picked up a lot of good deals on Black Friday, probably 5 or 6 different things I picked up that I wouldn't normally pick up. Okay. But not good for the companies. It's a sign that the companies are struggling. It's a sign that the economy is not very strong. So then the question that you have to ask yourself is, okay, I don't see anybody uprising. The mainstream media is trying to tell us the numbers are showing we got a great economy. No, they don't. The fake numbers that they're putting out are showing that. The real numbers are showing the economy is in drastic trouble. No protest, no anger about that. High gas prices. Okay, gas has come down a little bit. I think it's just around $5 here now. It was $7 earlier this year, around $7, and it's come down a little bit. Is that a relief? Yeah, it's a relief. Is it where it needs to be? No, it should be around $2.50, right? Here in California. It's what it should be, and it's not. Nobody's saying anything because we kind of got used to it. How about the crushing surge on our southern border? What do you see going on there? Who's protesting? Quiet. Nothing happening. Again, mainstream media not covering it. Not a word. You're hearing about it here because we cover it. You're hearing about it in other media similar to ours. Where you say it, they'll sue you, they'll put you in jail because you believe 2020 was stolen. Forget about the mountains of data. Forget about all the evidence and the videos. Forget about the affidavits, the thousands of affidavits signed by people who were there and saw it being stolen in real time. All of that doesn't matter. If you said it was stolen, you're now the enemy because you're not going along with the narrative. Be careful, right? That's what they want you to believe. And you're going to see from Rudy Giuliani, that's exactly what they wanted him to do, is to change his tune. Now, some of the defendants in Georgia, where Trump was indicted, have done that. They have turned. Not all of them. I think 3 or 4 of them have, to save their own bacon. But that's not what we need. We need people who are going to stand up and say, listen, this did happen. We have the proof. We're not backing down. No matter how much pressure, we're not going to back down. How about the January 6th prisoners who again are staying in jail and going to miss another Christmas with their families? How come we don't hear anything about that? How come nothing's being done? There's no protesting being done. Really? Honestly, I'm kind of surprised that it's gone this far and there's really been no pushback on it. So if there's no pushback, Will it continue? Of course, it'll continue as long as there's no pressure. The list is long, and certainly the battles that we have in front of us are tough. And, we may be wanting to ask ourselves, okay, do we go into 2024, do we go into it passive, or do we go into it taking a little bit more action? More action may be something as simple as I'm going to commit to sharing 3, 5, 10 posts a day. I'm going to commit to commenting other people's posts. I'm going to commit to talking to anybody who would listen about the issues and what's going on. I do it. I used to hold back. I used to be so afraid of talking politics. Now it's like in your face. And you know what I find? Not one did I ever get into an argument with. Not one. They're all interested in hearing because they know they can look out there and they can see things aren't right. And they go, why? What's going on? What do you know? Well, here's what I know. I know a lot more than I can share here in some instances, and I don't share it not because I don't want to share it, because I need to vet it and verify it before I share it. Otherwise, it's just conspiracy. And I prefer not to be in that realm. So I wait, and I wait to see things play out. And when they start playing out, I go, okay, well, that did happen the way, I expected it might, or the way I was told it might. A lot of times that doesn't happen. A lot of times things I'm told never happen. But we may want to question that. We may want to ask, when is that switch going to be flipped where we start getting into more action, double what we've been doing, right? And start doing the things that we really need to do to really clean up the mess that we find ourselves in. Okay, I can pontificate forever, as you can tell. I don't want to do that. But if you guys want to reach me, you can on Telegram. t.me/Renegade Media, or just look up @Renegade Media on Telegram, and you can email me, robert@renegademedia.tv. And if you have not done so, please go over to screwbiggov.com, Lewis's website. Lots of good stuff going on there. You keep up with what he's doing. And the bottom right there is the social media button. That's how you find him on Telegram. The easiest way to find him, shortcut there to do that. And the button right next to that to the left is his swag button, where you can get the nice sweatshirts and the Remember Your Oath wear, and all the Screw Big Gov, and especially the new jackets that are out. Really, really, really good stuff. All right, let's get into today's news, and it's really kind of a follow-up to what we talked about yesterday, and I was kind of excited about, seeing that we kind of, we look at a lot of news, right? Honestly, there's I don't know, 100 plus stories that I look at every day. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sorting through. And I appreciate Denise and Master Baggy and Lisa for putting all the stuff in the we have a channel on Telegram that we call Backstage, and that's the stuff they put in there. And I go through all of it, and I go look and sort through and try to figure out, okay, what are the stories that are going to matter the most to all of us? And all of us, I mean you, the viewer, and me, and all of us on this side, what matters. Because there's a lot of junk, right? There's thousands of stories. I could be here forever, but sorting through it and trying to pick the right ones. So one of the ones we picked was the Eagle Pass, Texas border invasion. And I saw that Sunday night. I thought, this is going to be big. And I started sharing that already into Telegram, as I knew Monday this thing was going to explode, and sure enough it had. And, the question that I talked about yesterday was, okay, why now? Why literally Christmas week, right? Is it exploding? What's up? What's up is it's Christmas week. You're not paying attention, right? You're busy. You got Christmas shopping to do. Little Susie wants a teddy bear. You got to go find that teddy bear. And it's got to be the pink one. I know what it's like. I got it. I'm in that boat too. I got to get out. Actually, after we're done here, I'm going shopping because I'm behind. I got to catch up. We got to do what we got to do to keep things going in our lives. And it gets harder this time of year. We get the crush of all the stuff that we need to do. And, from that perspective, you miss a lot of stuff in the news. You turn your attention away from it. So what better time to flood the border? I mean, flood the border. Okay. How bad is it? Well, let's look at this photo here, give you an idea of how big this thing has become. And this is from Gateway Pundit. More than 12,600 migrants. 12,600, that's an entire football stadium full of migrants. No, maybe not. Maybe not a football stadium. Maybe a hockey arena. I don't think football stadiums are much bigger. Never been in one, but I hear they're much bigger. More than 12,600 migrants crossed the southern border in a day. The largest number in history. So this is not just a little border crossing. These numbers are historical in nature, not hysterical, historical in number. 12,600. Another migrant record is smashed under Biden with thousands still waiting to get in through Eagle Pass, Texas. U.S. apprehensions of migrants. And I love when they call it apprehensions, because apprehensions, you would assume they're arresting them, they're turning them around, they're marching them back. No, that's not at all what's happening. They're apprehending them to give them their cell phone, their debit card, right? And their papers. So well, we're going to talk about that a little bit, what they're doing with those. Okay. The latest figures include 11,000 border apprehensions and an additional 1,600 migrants encountered at official points of entry. Fox News has reported based on CBP sources, Customs and Border Patrol, edging past the prior record of 12,000, which was just 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, 12,000. This week, 12,600. Now, Texas Republican Tony Gonzalez, and I know some people don't like Tony, put the figure even higher, posting the historic numbers on X and saying there were 26,000 border crossers already in custody. Tuesday morning in Eagle Pass, 14,000 crossed illegally, and yesterday, and 26,000 were already in custody. It's the highest in U.S. history. He says Christmas Day will be worse. We don't like these people. Nothing to do with any of that. We should have a legal immigration process where they come in, they tell us who they are and where they're going, and you wait your turn, and, we let in a certain number so we can manage it, right? Not this wide open border, the open borders thing. And, they all laughed at Trump when he said, they want open borders back in 2016. They all laughed at him. No, they don't want open borders. Of course they do. Of course they do. I'm looking for a video here that I pulled and I don't see it in my list. Oh, well, skip it. Not important. Okay. Michael Yon. You might know Michael Yon. He's a guy who's down there at the border, and he goes actually much further. He goes all the way down to Panama and the Darien Gap and all that area just to figure out what's going on. So he posts, somebody posted this and said, look at what's going on in Eagle Pass, Texas. And he says, in his own words here, I'll see if I can make it a little bigger for you. You ain't seen nothing yet. I am upstream. What does that mean? That means what we're seeing, even though these are historic numbers, they're going to get even bigger. Maybe that's the reference to Christmas Day. Maybe we're all having our Christmas meal with our families and opening presents and doing the Christmas thing. Maybe Christmas Day, there's going to be even a bigger flood. Somebody knows something. It's coming. Clearly it's coming. And I want to share this video from Eagle Pass, Texas.
Come through.
Okay. So one thing you probably should have noted with the military Green Beret that he interviewed there was what Lewis brought up yesterday. They're trying to give these people, that's why military-age men, primarily, right? There's still families and there's still the children coming up, but primarily military-age men. They're going to get them to citizenship by enrolling them in the military. Now, enrollment numbers in the military are what? They're way down. Why? Don't do it. Don't join. It's horrible. So the incentive for these people would be you join the military, we give you citizenship. You're an American citizen. Now, Lewis brought up a point that's kind of scary, but it has a lot of truth to it. And he said an American in the American military is never going to go after an American citizen. Not going to happen. But a foreigner doesn't have that issue. They'll go after it, no problem. And we saw that, by the way, in the trucker convoy in Canada. Right? The Canadian police, the Canadian RCMP, all those people, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, they were all very friendly with the crowd until Justin Castro there got fed up and he brought in troops. We don't even know who they are still. We don't even know what country they came from. But they went and they started attacking the crowd. With the regular police would never have done it because it's their countrymen. They're not going to do that. So they brought in foreign troops. We don't know where they're from. They had no identification. We didn't know what force they were from, but they were in riot gear, padded, and they went and they broke up that protest within a day. So that may be what we're looking at. I'm hoping I'm hoping I'm way off base here. Well, Lewis is way off base on this one. Hoping. But you're starting to see signal now that maybe we're not. Maybe that is the plan. Maybe that is why we're bringing in all these military age guys. Now, here is, let's see here. I don't have it marked down, or it's in the wrong order. Anyway, I'm going to play this video for you, and you'll see this progress. Okay, I don't know if you caught that. The volume was a little bit low there. But in order for Biden to win, it's going to involve a lot of immigrant voters. Do you understand? No voter ID needed. You show up, you can fog a mirror, you can vote. It's good they're going to need that if they want to put Biden in 24. So that's her take. That's one reason they're doing that. Got that. I think we all understood that. I don't think that is news to any of us. That's the first reason. Okay. Roll it for what else is in there? Over. Crazy. What are they going to use it all for? How is it getting distributed? Crazy stuff. So we've got a lot. We've got a lot of things bubbling right now. And I think there's an opportunity here for us to kind of take a step back and say, okay, is this what we want from our country? Or do we want something better? That's why I asked the question right at the beginning. Is it time for action yet? Are we there? Are we at that point where we can't take it anymore because the wheels have not been turning in the way we want them to? I don't know. I'm feeling like we may be getting close to that tipping point. We'll see, right? We'll see how you guys respond, what you say. It'll be interesting. So Texas, to deal with the immigration influx here, signs a law that says they can arrest illegal border migrants. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has enacted legislation permitting state law enforcement officials to detain individuals suspected of unauthorized entry into the U.S. across the U.S.-Mexico border. Well, you got 26,000 of them in custody right now. What you doing, guys? Under Senate Bill 4, this is Texas Senate bill, individuals who enter or attempt to enter Texas from a foreign nation at any location other than a lawful point of entry. Okay, so wait a minute. If they come in for a lawful point of entry, Border Patrol is going to let them in. It doesn't sound like this has a lot of teeth, does it? And who are classified as aliens, as per federal law, would be committing a Class B misdemeanor. The offense can lead up to 180 days in jail and the maximum fine of $2,000. Well, they're given 5 to come up here, so 2, not a big deal. The bill elevates this to a state-level jail felony, punishable by 180 days, blah, 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 blah. The fines could go as high as $10,000 if the individual has been previously convicted of illegal entries. In other words, if they come back, they're sent back, and they come back again. Okay, it's a breadcrumb and doesn't take effect until March of 24. I'm not that excited. Maybe I should be. Maybe I should say we're winning. Maybe that's a win. I don't know. I'm waiting for something bigger here. Not seeing it. You guys seeing it? Hey, are you seeing it? I'm looking for bigger wins, but we'll take what we can get. I guess this is a start, and it could have been done 3 years ago. Why now? Why are we waiting? Why such a long process to wake up to this? It's not like Texas hasn't been invaded, right? And we see all these migrants being put on airplanes and buses and shipped out, so you don't get the big pile up there in Texas. And now Chicago is crying uncle, as well as New York City crying uncle, saying, stop it. And New York and Chicago are both blaming Texas. Texas, it's all your fault that we're swimming in migrants. And it's costing us millions and millions of dollars to manage the crisis. Texas's fault. Hey, no. Hey, cannot blame the big guy. You got to go to Biden, right? Operation is his network of influence. Judge Loretta Preska wrote, Unsealed in full, next to the names of 177 does who are Epstein's friends, recruiters, victims, and other whose names will be revealed when the material is released in the coming weeks. Okay. Good. Again, a start, but I want to see more here. What am I missing? A lot of the names are going to be people, the maids, the janitors, the construction workers, the people who worked on the island and worked on, that kind of thing. Okay, they're associates. Maybe they see what's going on. Well, you're going to get their names. So maybe you can go find them and interview them, or maybe they're gone. Maybe they're in hiding. Who knows? Not the main players, though. We still want the main players. We're going to get there. We're just not there yet. And I think there's a little bit ways to go here before we get that. But unsealing 177, good start. We still don't get the flight logs. I mean, that's going to tell us a lot more because the flight logs are the big names. And the fear now is that so many U.S. politicians are involved that they are bribed and they're no longer working and making decisions based on things they see and should want to have happen, but they're being told what to say, what to do. That there's a controlling force that's holding this over their heads. Interesting. We'll see. It's got to come out at some point. It's got to come out. So we're going to get there. It's just a little bit of patience. I think we're getting there. Rudy Giuliani. This is kind of interesting. He is being sued again. What do you mean? Didn't he just lose? Didn't the judge rule that he had to pay $148 million? Yeah. The two women who are going to receive that $148 million, they won't, asked the court to prevent Giuliani from making or publishing further statements repeating any and all false claims. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know how you explain it. 99% of the ballots that were counted during that time were for Biden, nothing for Trump. And he can't defend himself? I mean, I expect to see this in a communist country. Really, that's what you expect, right? You have a regime that's in charge, a dictator. You can't defend yourself. If you do, you're going to be brought up on charge. I expect that. Communist country. This is not what America is or was supposed to be. Am I wrong? Shouldn't he have the right to defend himself? Well, he's going to go on appeal now, but it's costing him all kinds of money. And maybe this is all this is about, is to bankrupt him, because it's got costing him all this money, and he's got to go to court. It ties him up, and he can't go do the work that he needs to do. And his law license is still suspended in New York. They suspended his law license, so he can't earn a living. So they're trying to stop him any way they can. It's another version of what they're doing to President Trump. Lawfare. Let's keep him in court. Let's keep him tied up. Keep the thing going. Keep the ball rolling. So he can't do, ideally, what he should be doing. On the legal team, maybe helping Trump, maybe helping protect our elections, doing the things that you would want someone like this to do. That would be fantastic. But that isn't happening here. I see a blue sky and a man showing up in a blue sky. Let's see. Louis, how are you?
Good. Tired, but good.
Tired, but
It's
good.
been a long day.
Go with that.
So I guess now I can discuss where I was, if you haven't already mentioned it.
I have not mentioned it yet. I've been keeping it under wraps because I wanted you to be the one to share the news.
All right, so we just left the southern border. We've been there all day long. Thank you. I got a tour from with Jonathan Alexander from Live Border News with some other people we were down here with. Some may come forward, some may not. I don't know. It's up to them. Actually, a prospective governor, believe it or not, is with us. So that was pretty amazing to see. And this gentleman is he'll be running for governor in Utah. I'm very, very impressed with this gentleman. So that's the good news. Now the border. So we went down. We're in Arizona, past the Tucson sector, right near the reservations, and it's pretty incredible because we're driving along the border. But what you see is if you're really paying attention, you can see cartel outposts. Not just on the Mexican side, but on the American side also.
Right.
Which is pretty damn scary if you think about it.
Mm-hmm. It is.
And then they have the watering stations and all this stuff, which they claim the watering stations are for the immigrants, but they're clearly not for the immigrants because the cartels will use the watering stations, and you have to pay in sex or money or something else if you want to drink water out of those watering stations when you get there, because they're cartel controlled.
Wow.
Unless somehow you're not running with a coyote. Anyway, so we're going down the border, and before we got there, we passed a whole bunch of border agents doing nothing. And then we passed a facility where they process immigrants, and it was 150% capacity. And then we passed another facility that's supposed to be nothing, but if you look through the black tarps that they have all over the chain link fence, there's a bunch of women and children behind the gate there, and you could hear them talking in the background. So all that looks suspicious. And then we got to Trump's wall, and then we're driving along the wall, and I'll bring a lot of pictures and videos tomorrow. And then you would be blown away by the massive, massive gaps in the wall. About 120 feet in some spaces, 120 feet of gaps. Nobody's guarding. A bunch of pieces of the wall are cut off. And when we ask contractors out there, so why are these walls cut off? Oh, we're doing irrigation. Well, where? They're doing irrigation on the other side. I go, okay. And that wall was just cut down. Okay. So we go further down. They've been cut down for over a year.
Wow.
They're not doing anything. They're not doing. And these are all entry points, right?
Yeah.
And there's a ton of them. And then you get to the end of the wall, and wow. So, but before we got to that point, we ran into, I think our first batch of immigrants ran into probably well over 100 of them. I interviewed a bunch of them. They said most of them said they're from Guatemala. And then some, believe it or not, there was a bunch of them from Chad and Sudan. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
We even ran into a guy that claimed that he was once a military translator for the United States, but yet he was crossing over the border. And the trip they flew into Turkey, and then from Turkey they flew into Colombia, and they went to Nicaragua, El Salvador, and then came up through the Mexican border. It's very interesting. Ask them if they're paying. All of them are saying, yeah, we're paying. We have to pay the cartel. So they're all paying with the cartel. 90% of them are just what we suspected. They're fighting age men. And then there are a few women there in pockets, and there was 5 women I saw all together, and I was very concerned about them because they looked like, I hate to say it, but they were probably very, and they were very afraid to even look me in the eyes. So then I started to confront the men that were next to them, and then they pretended not to speak English, but some of them did speak English and some of them didn't. And then we noticed that it seemed like there was cartel that was mixed in with a couple of these, right? So we were very on guard, and we postured up in certain segments to make sure that nobody could get from behind us. And then there was a point where it was a turn, and there's a hill coming down from the Mexican side, and we saw the cartel there, and they were coming towards us, and they were filming us, trying to grab our license plates, so on and so forth. And then so I filmed the guy back, and then one of them was brazen enough to literally walk over the border but he wouldn't let me film his face. Now, here's what's interesting. These people, and we found hundreds of them, they're sitting on the sides of the road. And I said, so how long you been there? 2 days, 3 days.
Whoa.
You know what they're waiting for? They're waiting for the Border Patrol to pick them up. So I found a couple that spoke English, and I go, what's going on? We're waiting for the Border Patrol to pick us up. They take us to the processing center. And I said, let me guess. And then you get bused to anywhere you want to go in the United States. And they said, exactly. So that's that game. That's what's going on. There's no more than the border, and then we saw a few border patrol up here. They were doing jack, in my opinion, just nothing. So
Yeah.
I don't think it should be even called border patrol anymore. It should be called border travel agency, because that's all they are, is a conduit to just help these people travel from the border and get processed to in here and then go. It's sad. It's disgusting. We saw some place where we can see there was a lot of camps that were set up, tons of Red Cross blankets. And we know that, the Red Cross is supported by the UN, and it's all cabal. And so they're doing everything they can to make them comfortable when they come over here. But it's disgusting. The news media is lying to us in droves. Your politicians are lying to you. I was told that we've had several senators and representatives, and get this, your favorite podcasters all promised that they're going to come down here, and all of them at the last second backed up. They backed out. And I find that interesting, because I'm down here and people are praising me. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did it. I can't believe you came down here. This is crazy. This is amazing." I'm like, what's so amazing about this? Everybody should come down here and check out. This will be the end of the United States if we don't fix this problem.
No, we're getting close to that already. Yeah.
Yeah. So being down here is a no-brainer and documented. And I'm ashamed to just be in a group of people that say they're going to come down here and they never do. Get your butt down here. I'll hook you up. I'll help you with all the arrangements. Come down here and see what's happening, because I'm telling you, it's not fun. It's not fun. And I honestly, I actually still feel for the illegals that come over here, and I get it, but many of them are looking for a better life. You can see it in the women's faces. Some of them, I felt like they didn't even want to be here. It's almost like they were
Possibly.
like maybe I can even imagine that they already knew what was going to happen to them, but for some reason they were forced. It's crazy, because it can't do anything. And the Border Patrol doesn't want you talking to them, doesn't want you touching them, doesn't want you doing anything. And they definitely don't want you preventing anybody from coming over the side. Nor do they want you talking to anybody.
No, they push the media out too. The media shows up there and they push them away. Or podcasters show up and they're kicked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And here's what's clear is it's frustrating, because the Border Patrol gets a heads up that we're coming, and they protect the cartel from us, not us from the cartel.
And we're paying their salaries, right?
Yeah. And but now we did speak to a few independent contractors down there that tell us the truth. So, and currently there's we heard some loud bang bangs, and there's a lot of helicopter actions, and we did see some what appeared to be there's definitely lookouts and possibly one or two snipers on the other side of the border, believe it or not, that we eyeballed. But territory, because it's so open and easy to access, with the Sinaloa cartel and the CNJG cartel. I think it's called the New Jalisco cartel. Nuevo. Anyways, so there's a big battle between them, and they're literally fighting for this territory. But we talked to a couple contractors, and one of them in particular said it's a massive war, and it's right now starting to roll over onto the U.S. side. Like, they're willing to have this fight on our side.
But we're not fighting back. We're not there. Our military's not there.
No, we don't do anything. The military's not there. In fact, the so-called National Guard that Hobbs authorized.
200 of them or something. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're processing.
Yeah.
They're not at the border. They're processing people after they get to the processing center. So that's another big fat fucking lie. Excuse my language. So it's all a bunch of lies. The Border Patrol is right now worthless in my eyes. I know people are going to get upset, There may be 20% of them are doing a good job. I don't know. There's like one that we met. He seemed pretty legit, pretty frustrated. There's a couple contractors that are legit, and they're very upset with the situation. But it's clearly, well, as everybody already knows, this is absolutely intentional. But for
It's
anybody,
beyond an accident at this point. It's clear.
no, this is the big plan.
Hmm.
Um, for anybody to tell me, and let's say any of these famous podcasters, that the border is sealed and everything's in control, well, they can kiss my white ass, because that's not the truth, and it hasn't been the truth. And to mislead we the people like that with false hope is starting to indicate that maybe these people are on the wrong side. Because that's not just irresponsible, that's evil. Because you're not going to be able to learn about this and fight this, right, by lying about it. So if they get the American people to start thinking, oh, it's fine, it's good, everything's kumbaya. In fact, if you tap on the wall, it resonates at 432 hertz, and we're all going to be healed, right? That's unconscionable, guys. You need to pay attention.
Yep.
Do I think a lot of stuff is real? Yes. Do I think there's white hats? Yes. I know her. I believe I've actually talked to a couple of them. Do I think they're winning? Yes, I think they're winning. But let's take a real approach also and realize that this is a real war, right? And we, the people, need to activate to take care of business. Because I can tell you, nobody else is out there taking care of the business. Not on this scale. Definitely down on the border.
No, not at all. And you can tell. I mean, and you have podcasters who should be able to see it. You just got to go on Twitter and you see the videos are posted. There's no mystery of what's going on. I mean, you see it.
Yeah. And there's infiltration everywhere. There's a couple of people that are on the border that we believe that people admire, and we believe they're actually helping traffic with the cartel.
Wow.
I know. So, but I spend a few days with a bunch of infiltrators, anyways, at this last event that I was at. So, but I've always told you about controlled opposition, and it's a wild and crazy ride, let me tell you.
It really is. I mean, the more we dig into it, and the more you see it. We talked a lot today about Eagle Pass, Texas, and what's going on there, the absolute avalanche. And Michael Yon is saying, you ain't seen nothing yet. You should see what's headed that way. And now they're pointing toward Christmas Day as being a day when there's going to be a complete avalanche of people coming across the border. So it's all
right.
planned.
And Abbott could stop this. And so those of you that think, oh, Abbott's great because Abbott actually tries and works hard at it. No, let me tell you what Abbott does, because I'm so done with the Greg Abbott's good story. He is definitely a rhino-controlled opposition. What he does is, Texas is a lot louder about this than Arizona is, even though there's more people pouring through Arizona. But that's how corrupt Arizona is. Right. It's so corrupt that the Idaho senator came down here, convinced their legislator to pay for half the wall in Arizona. An Idaho senator convinced legislator up there to pay for half the wall in Arizona, and they couldn't get one Arizona representative to even look at it. Not even look at it.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know about them.
As Cages, our movie says right there that the whole establishment in Arizona is probably the deepest of the deep state, next to maybe DC.
Wow.
So it is disgusting. But now I think it's time. So I believe, and I've said this very often, I believe we the people, when it comes to these podcasters, are just craving authenticity. Just be real with us. Just tell us the truth, whatever it is. Just don't blow smoke up my ass. Don't give me fear porn. Just tell me what's really going on.
Yep.
And I've taught for years on what to look for in regards to controlled opposition. Now, I would suggest for you guys, if you see somebody that you believe looks like controlled opposition, start posing those questions. By the way, if they don't have a chat for you to reply to, that might be a red flag.
Yeah. Then it's a monologue, not a dialogue, and then we don't want that. We want to hear from the
Nope.
viewers. Yeah.
Did you have a chance to watch that video that I was secretly filmed on?
Yeah, I did. I did watch it. I have not played it yet, but I have watched it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
What do you think?
Yeah, it's very good. I wish the audio were better. It's a little hard to hear, although I enhanced it as much as my tools will allow, and still hard to catch everything. There's a lot of background noise, you know.
I'm wondering if, and before you put it out, I'm wondering if maybe we should subtitle it. What do you think?
That might make sense. Yeah, that might make sense.
Okay. I don't remember how impactful it was because I was just in the passion of the moment. I didn't realize I was being recorded, right? Because that was not the intention. And then I noticed it, and then I asked the person afterwards, I go, "Did you record that?" And she goes, "Oh, yeah, I recorded most of it." I go, "Oh,
Good.
Okay."
Yeah.
But I think maybe we take a day or two and add subtitles to it, and we'll have to go from there. You know what I mean? Because if you think it's impactful, I don't honestly remember what I said. We got a lot of people surrounding us, and they thought it was pretty awesome. But I don't know.
Well, we can review it, and then as we put in the subtitles, then we can see, you know, where the points are. Maybe it's not worth showing the whole thing, but at least showing the salient points of it. Chop it up and make it work. You know.
Okay. Yeah, I can defer to you on that.
Okay.
So we're still about 20 minutes from the border, so I've got about 10 hours to drive home. So it's gonna be a long drive to get home.
Awesome.
I'll be ready for you guys tomorrow for the show. I don't know how impactful. Maybe Robert could help me out with this one. I'll figure it out.
Yep, we will. There's enough to cover. There's no shortage of topics, that's for sure.
Okay, yeah. And if you get that video ready, I don't know if you will in time, we could show that too.
Okay, awesome. I'll work on it in the morning then.
All right, brother. God bless everybody out there. We've got this, but it is not fun. It takes a lot of work, and I'm with some amazing patriots here. In fact, let me show you one. Kim, say hi to my audience real quick. Kim Yater is a badass.
Hey, you guys. He is a badass. You guys, you are just an incredible audience, first of all, because I know that this man attracts incredible people who are difference makers and who are truthers and who are willing to stand up. So it was amazing being at the border.
Yeah, it was incredible.
With Lewis. It was incredible.
So, we're getting it around, and you want to go on? So he's down at the border with us too, which is a blessing for us, and helped us with security, which is very, very important. And Mark and I were spotting some interesting stuff up here today, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. All right, guys. Thank you. Love everybody. See you, Robert. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Lewis. Appreciate you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Whew. Yeah. That was quite the update. And we're going to get more tomorrow. Lewis will be back tomorrow, and he'll bring in, more detail of what he's seen and all the things that he's come across over there. We're in the thick of the battle, guys. We're in the thick of it, and we're either going to turn this boat around, and it's going to be the tipping point. I think we're coming very close to that, and you're seeing that from the border. It's going to be really fascinating to see exactly where this goes from here. All of us are behind them. We're behind it, and we have to not cower down and not back off. We're going to make this happen. We're going to win. I tell you, we're going to get to that point, and we're going to make this a reality. All right, I'm going to look forward to what Lewis has to bring. I know there's going to be more videos. We've that a long video, a 12-minute video that we're going to chop up, as he'd mentioned. We're going to chop it up for you. We'll have it tomorrow, and we'll have Lewis on here as well. Got a lot of stuff going on that I want to follow, and wow, big day ahead. All right. I'm going to end this show right now. I'm going to say thank you so much, all of you, for being part of it. We appreciate you, and we'll look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. And if you're watching the replay, put your comments below on what you thought about some of the stories, questions you might have for Lewis. I'll go through them later tonight, and then maybe tomorrow I can ask Lewis the questions you have as well, because we want to keep that dialogue going. I just want this to be less of a monologue, more of a dialogue. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Love you all. See you all tomorrow. Same time, same channel.